r/NuclearRevenge. First story. I got my homophobic bullying co-work fired with a mysterious package. Firstly, I'd like to start by saying I'm in no way homophobic. I respect everyone's choices, and I still don't understand why people have such a problem with others being gay. When I was about 18, I used to work in a small factory for an engineering firm as an apprentice and had to work with this real piece of shit guy. Let's call him Kevin. For some reason Kevin would find great joy by picking on me all the time in work. He would wait until it was just me and him alone and then call me out for being gay. Note, I'm not gay and had a girlfriend at the time. However, that didn't matter to him. He would stroll right over to my desk and call me all these awful names like faggot, homo, cocksucker, etc plus other words/names that are too disgusting to say. He would get right in my face and try his best to get a response from me, but I would just keep my head down and keep working. Even though I ignored him, he made me feel really crap. I began hating going into work. I started coming up with excuses for not coming in. I did this so often that ours had to have a meeting with me and I was given an official warning. I was a shy small guy and didn't have the confidence to say anything. This kept on going for months, and one day he went too far. I was working on a design for a product from my work laptop and left the factory for lunch. When I got back, he had deleted all my work files and replaced them with screenshots of gay porn. The second I sat back down on my desk and noticed, Kevin ran up behind me and called everyone over to show them what I was supposedly looking at on my laptop. He pulled my arms back behind my chair, holding me in place, and everyone came over and started laughing at me. My boss even came over. My idiot boss believed Kevin, and I was given a warning letter about my work behavior and another official warning. I had enough and plotted my revenge. The idea I came up with was to send Kevin a package and have him open in front of everyone. You see, Kevin collected rare DVDs and would have them shipped to the company's address. He would then gather everyone around his desk to show them what he had bought, no matter what the package. So, I told my mother my plan. She knew what Kevin had done to me at this point, and she was in. I went online and ordered some extremely embarrassing stuff. I had them sent to my mother. She lived on the other side of the country, and she would send them to my workplace in Kevin's name. I did this so the package would be stamped in a different city, making it look like it was ordered somewhere else. Anyway, the day came when the package arrived. Kevin announced for everyone to come over to see his new DVD. Everyone came over and watched as Kevin opened the box. I stood at the back as I knew what was coming. Kevin stuck his hand in the box and pulled out a huge pink mankini, the one Borat wore, and a ball gag. Kevin's face went sheet white. Then everyone burst out laughing. The whole staff were bent over in laughter, some dropping to the floor crying in laughter. The staff started saying stuff like, "Is that for your weekend, Kevin? And is that for your other collection?" I was laughing so much that I couldn't breathe. Kevin ran out the room and we all descended on the box. Besides the mankini and ball gag, there was a note. Now this was the cherry on top, all thanks to my mother. One of the office staff took out the note and read it out loud. This is what it said. "Hello Kivapoo 69. Because you are one of our most loyal customers, we have decided to send you some free gifts to thank you for your years of loyalty to our brand. We hope you enjoy them. All the best from the team at outofthecloseg.com." Well, this just sent us all tumbling to the floor with laughter. I had no idea my mother would do that. Just typing it out now makes me laugh. After we all regained our composure, the head of ours came down and asked me to come up for a meeting. I entered one of the meeting rooms and there was Kevin, the head of ours, my boss and the director of the company. For the next hour Kevin tried to convince them that I had sent him the package. I protested, saying the package was stamped on the other side of the country, so how could I have sent it? The head of ours asked Kevin why he thought I sent the package. He said, "Because I always call him a," then he stopped his sentence. I turned to him and said, "Yeah, tell them what you always call me. Tell them the names you like to call me every day. Tell them how you single me out and bully me. Tell them about the hell you have put me through." The room got quiet. Kevin was told to leave while they have a chat with me. I proceeded to tell them about what Kevin was doing to me and how long it had gone on for. I told them about the names he called me and what he had done with my laptop. When I was finished, they all thanked me for being honest and said they would investigate my claims further. I was asked one more time if I had sent the package. I said I didn't and that it may have been a mate of mine because I had told my friends what had been going on. But it had nothing to do with me and I had no say in it. So, an investigation did happen. They found out that Kevin was indeed bullying me and other younger staff members and apprentices in the firm. He had been doing this since the day he started working there. He was fired. Good. I don't feel any regret for what I did. He was a 50-year-old man that still acted as a child. If he can't grow up, then he can't work with adults. Years later on my last day of work, I was asked by the director of the company if I had indeed sent that package to Kevin. I just smiled, winked and said nope, but my mother didn't like Kevin very much. I can now say I'm a confident, happy extrovert. I don't stand for any bullying behavior anymore and always stick up for myself and the people around me. As for Kevin, well, I hope he has improved his attitude and has grown up. Second story. Park in our disabled spot. Enjoy selling your home. Sorry for making this long, but the context is pretty important. So my little sister, who is the sweetest girl in the world, is 12 years old, but can't walk or communicate. Her mental age is around 6 months. She obviously cannot attend a regular school, but since we live in a big city, there is a wonderful school for kids like her. Even though we don't own a car, since we don't need one, we got the city to put up signs in front of our house designating a 4-meter spot for wheelchair pickup and drop off for her school bus every morning and afternoon. The signs went up perhaps 2 years ago, and after the first week we never really had any issues, since most of our neighbors are wonderful and totally understanding of our designated spot. For some context, we live in a perhaps poorer community, though we are well off, but in our 9 years here, we've had nothing but great interactions with everyone here. Sadly, the neighborhood is gentrifying, and we are getting more self-centered people with their Mercedes-Benz or Audis honking, while my sister gets loaded onto her school bus, which takes around 4 minutes, but blocks a little street, which really pisses us off, as well as the other sane people that witness it. Naively, we thought this would be the extent of our unpleasant interactions. In September, we woke up like on any other Monday morning to find a shiny BMW parked in our disabled spot. It wasn't just partially in it, it was positioned perfectly to take up the entire spot. To make things worse, there were about a dozen open spots on the block, and it's not like they were all vacated that morning. Since we wake up at 6 AM, we were baffled. I'd seen this car many times since last July, and it was definitely the same car, since there aren't many burgundy sports cars in our neighborhood. It was usually parked about 20 meters south on our street, so we knew it belonged to a neighbor a few doors down. We did all the basics in this type of situation. We took a picture, took down the license plate, and called the police to report it. The cops came by within the hour and wrote a big fat ticket. I believe it was for $700, but don't quote me on it. Anyways, it was a significant amount. At around noon, a smug angry guy came knocking on my door. I had the day off from school and was home on my own. It was obvious that it was the owner of the car, so I made a quick decision to record the conversation, or screaming match, on my phone. I opened the door, and before I could say a thing, the douche lays into me. I'm a 16-year-old guy and he's in his mid-40s, midlife crisis maybe. He accuses me of all things ranging from putting up those signs this morning, to frame him to being racist. He was East Asian I believe, but we have a really diverse community. He goes on to say that disabled spots shouldn't even be a thing, that it's always empty, totally shooting himself in the foot, based on his previous comments, that we should pay for his undeserved ticket, that it isn't even an inconvenience, since the spot next to his was free and my sister could just get on the bus from there, blah blah blah. Once he finished, I said okay, and shut the door on his furious face. He rang the doorbell another 5 times before storming off. To my satisfaction, the recording caught everything fairly clearly. In the evening I told my parents what had happened and gave my dad a copy of the recording. We have a pretty tight-knit community, for the most part, and there is a neighborhood Facebook group with around 3,000 members. My dad decided to post a summary of what had happened along with the recording and a picture of the car in our spot on the page. There was immediate uproar with people saying they would fight back or whatever. We were humbled by the feeling that our community was standing up for us, but we didn't think anything would come of it. The next day, I leave the house to go to school and walk by the guy's car back in his normal spot and notice that the front right tire was deflated. Upon closer inspection, it was slashed. As I said, our community is tight-knit, but I can't say I expected anything like this to happen. The guy must have seen the Facebook post because he didn't come back to our house to complain or accuse us of anything. The following weeks were sweet. Whenever I saw him in public, people would go up to him and remind him that he was a shitty human being, a bit harsh in my opinion, but they weren't my words. In November, his house had a for sale sign in the window. The house market had also gone down by a bit. I'm always kind of curious about how much houses similar to ours are selling for compared to how much we paid for ours in 2011, so I knew what he paid for it in July. Once I saw the for sale sign, I rushed home and checked the local house listings, and lo and behold, he was selling for $90,000 less than what it was going for in July. He really wanted to get out of our neighborhood. While his crime wasn't nearly worth $90,000, I must say that I don't feel bad. Worst case scenario, he sells that obnoxious car of his, which would easily cover the lost money. Let's just say that we haven't had a single car parked in my sister's spot since. I originally posted this in r/pro-revenge, but was advised to repost it here. TLDR, douche parks in reserved handicapped spot in front of our home and gets harassed by entire neighborhood for doing so. He ends up having to sell his home at a $90,000 loss. Edit. Thanks for the gold, stranger.